My name is Cody Boatman, and I'm a senior in the Organizational Leadership degree program at the University of Oklahoma. For my senior study in-depth research paper, I chose the topic of digital technology and the impact on organizational development. Digital technology has altered almost every facet of our life. It's hard to go an hour, let alone a day, without interacting with some form of digital technology. And that may be your smartphone, or an internet connected laptop, or it may be an ordering menu at a restaurant. It comes in all sorts of shapes and function, and sometimes it's very obvious and it seems very advanced, but sometimes it's very intuitive and it's very nuanced. And this topic tends to encapsulate the broad impact that it can have on the way that an organization is structured and the way that it operates within itself, its business community, and the society as a whole. In this presentation, I'm going to address the reasons specifically that I chose this topic. I'm going to talk about what I learned throughout my research. I'm going to discuss what I'm going to do with the information that I learned, and I'm going to discuss what I took away from doing this research paper personally. So as for my topic, digital technology and the way that it impacts an organization was chosen because it impacts me twofold. The first one is the personal. I grew up alongside digital technology. As I was going through middle school and high school, they were introducing new classes, computer classes in terms of hardware, or coding classes in terms of software. And I will admit, they have all completely passed me by. I respect the people that do it, but that is way beyond my patience and my understanding. So kudos to them, but it still remains an important topic for me. Social media. My freshman year of college in 2004, Facebook was introduced, and as we know, that fundamentally impacted the way that we interact with one another, our friends, the way people make new friends, share information about their life, and understand other people's lives as best they can and the best that they can understand. And it's also become a tool for work, for connecting with people on a more professional level. And as I go forward, I think that will have a huge impact. I've worked in the service industry for a long time, and I've seen digital technology be incorporated in terms of customer tracking or tracking of hours, hiring of employees, tracking development, offering classes online. And I just think generally it's incorporated professionally at a very profound level that's often not understood. Another reason I chose this topic is because while it is a necessary thing to understand, and although nobody can fully understand every aspect of it, I thought my research would further the discussion and the sharing of information so that as people continue to read and do research, they can build upon the work and collect and integrate the information that they find. Along the way, there was a lot of things that I learned that I didn't fully realize about digital technology in the way that it impacts organizational development. Generally speaking, technology is introduced and adopted by an organization to increase efficiency and reduce waste. That might be in the physical product development, so that they don't have to create models, study the models, and scrap the models and start again. That can all take place through networked computers where you can share design and get feedback and do it all 3D digitally. And you can save on material costs that way. Another way to streamline operation is through inventory control. Companies used to keep track of parts in, parts out manually, and things may get mixed up, things may get forgotten. But through introducing artificial intelligence and parts tracking, uh, these computer systems and networks, cloud storage, can handle this data in such a way that inventory can be kept low to save on overhead costs, but also efficiency is increased because you don't have to keep the manual logbooks that you may have before. It also creates an opportunity for a lot of strategic leverage. Companies are able to expand what used to be limited by proximity. They're able to expand their cooperation and partnership with people across the world. They're able to share ideas and share materials in such a way that a company, a small company, is able to maybe able to work with another small company and build up something that they may not have been able to otherwise. Another thing would be structure within the company. There's been a development of software suites and social media platforms within organizations that help to bolster communication. And by bolstering communication, not only does it allow for creative ideas to flow from the top to the bottom, but it also allows for ideas from the bottom to the top. A lot of front end people who may not otherwise have their voices heard are able to communicate with their management in a way that seems much more fluid and seems much more dynamic. And by doing that, you can build a very strong corporate culture because people feel like their values are heard and are reinforced that way. And you build a lot of employee engagement and a lot of positivity that can decrease turnover, and all of those things help to minimize waste and increase productivity in the long term. And while there are an innumerable amount of positives to incorporating digital technology, there are also risks and concerns that have to be acknowledged. With the increase in remote work, one of the things that has to be understood is the responsible and appropriate access and use of private information and potentially sensitive information. If an employee is taking a computer home to do work, even if that's their computer, if they're accessing organizational clouds that store a bunch of corporate data, that opens up a risk of somebody else outside the office gaining access to that computer and getting in. And also from the other way, there may be personal things on their personal computer that they don't want the organization having access to and don't think that they have the right. So those kinds of potential misunderstandings and miscommunications have to be addressed as organizations start to incorporate digital technology into their business. That can take place through publicly stated and printed policy, agreements that are checked off or accepted upon each initial use. There are a number of ways to address and cover those issues, but they have to be addressed. Another concern, more generally, is equal access to improved technology. There tends historically to be a marginalized community who doesn't benefit from these big revolutions in technology. And that can have an impact on a localized community and society in general, as the rich kind of get richer by putting their gains back into furthering their technological growth. That tends to create a gap between the haves and the have-nots. So understanding the impact of that, how that can impact unemployment in a community, even through automation and manufacturing. If you need less employees, then that creates less demand from the organizations, and so it's harder to find work within a community. That can build income inequality, where people can't afford to live in certain areas because they're not able to find jobs because those jobs have been done away with. They've been replaced by artificial intelligence or logistics systems or automation within a warehouse or a manufacturing plant. It can also create issues of issues with diversity opportunity. Diversity drives creativity and it helps to bolster the culture of an organization. And if there is a lack of access for certain communities, then that diversity is going to be impacted in a potentially negative way for both the individuals and in that community and for the organization itself. The next thing is what I'm going to do with the information I took from this project. My plan personally is to move forward to get my master's degree in industrial and organizational psychology. And from there, I would like to go into management consulting. I would like to interact with management and front-end workers in order to create positive relationships that add benefit from both ends. And I think the incorporation of digital technology into that approach exponentially expands the ability to realize that positive benefit. So, continued education. The improved communications along the way. The information that you can get using digital technology has a tendency to expand outward in its benefit. I think that one of the issues that faces a lot of places now is the inability of information to flow both ways. There's a lot of top-down information, a lot of passing down, here's what's happening, and maybe not enough feedback from the top. So as I move forward, I would like to incorporate my understanding and what I've learned about digital technology in order to increase and improve employee engagement and to help foster positive and engaged organizational cultures. And along the way, that will decrease turnover and the need to spend more money onboarding and managing human capital. Oh, got a couple more slides. My personal takeaways from this project have been twofold. The first one is the need for an abundance of caution and understanding when looking for reliable information. The internet, as we all know, has created a world where information is plenty. There is information on every topic from all sorts of perspectives. The issue becomes vetting that information and understanding what's reliable and what you can depend on moving forward and making decisions. So this research paper really helped me to understand what is a academic source, what is a credible source, how do you decide what is and isn't, and how do you take the information out of that can really make a positive impact as you move forward, as you make decisions, and as you try to find out the best possible course of action. The second thing that I took away from this is my confidence in my time management skills on a big project. Obviously, going into a professional setting, there's going to be times where I'll feel overwhelmed by the tasks that I'm given, and I think that by doing this research paper, I've understood not only my capability, but more generally just the way to break down large projects into manageable bites that get the job done in a way that isn't overwhelming, but also allows you to fully delve into each topic, into each section like I did on my paper, and really try to deliver the best product and the best outcome possible. In the end, technology continues to impact our lives in profound ways that we may not even understand now. The personal and professional implications of digital technology are why I chose this topic in the first place. It impacts organizational structure and development. It impacts leadership, and it impacts employees and the relationship with human capital within an organization. I learned that there is an immense benefit from technology, and it can help create efficiencies that would have been just dreamt about 15 or 20 years ago. And it helps to build relationships that may not have been able to happen before due to distance or time. But there are concerns that have to be addressed. There are privacy concerns, and there are equality concerns that have to be taken into account if you want to maximize the benefit of this technology and ensure that you're not doing additional harm to communities or organizations who may be marginalized already. this research is going to have a huge impact on my future. It is somewhat focused in my approach to what I want to do and the goals that I'm setting for myself. And I think in the end that I'm going to draw a lot of inspiration as well as a lot of information from this paper. The two main ones being time management and my ability to collect and scrutinize information in a world full of information, a lot of it useless, but a lot of it incredibly important. Digital technology has an amazing benefit and it has risks just like everything else. And I hope that this research paper will shed some light on some topics that people may not have understood before and will help people to make decisions that benefit themselves, their organization, and the community they live in. Thank you very much.